There's a great lie that has been taught to the church, and it says that the feast days and the holy days were fulfilled in Jesus Christ. And in so teaching that, we have robbed God's people of these wonderful feasts that we are learning how to celebrate. This is my second year to keep the Feast of the Lord. Some people call them the Feast of the Jews, but that's a misnomer. These were never the Jews' feast. Yahweh, God said, these are my feast. And then right after that, he said they were to be kept forever. Not until Yeshua or Jesus came, but forever. They were to be kept as a statute forever. If you need evidence of that, I'll give it to you. The man Christ Jesus, Yeshua, he kept every one of the Father's festivals. He kept Passover, unleavened bread, first fruit, trumpets, atonement, tabernacles, and the last great day. He kept every one of them. He is our example, by the way. And he said in Matthew chapter 5 that until heaven and earth pass away, not one jot or one tittle would pass away from his Father's law. And so we have him as our witness. Next, we have a great apostle by the name of Paul. I'm sure you've heard of him. The apostle Paul was an avid keeper of the feast of Yahweh, so much so that he was having a revival over in Macedonia, in Asia, and he actually put everything to an end and said, by all means, I must keep this feast. He said that about 50 years after Christ died, he was keeping the feast. Then he gives a direct command to the New Testament church and says, let us keep the feast. That is a command. Let us keep the feast. And then we can go over further into his writings, and we will see where he says in his writings that these feasts are shadows of things to come. When Paul wrote that, to come is a future statement. That's the reason he said we're keeping this feast, is because they are shadows of things to come. And indeed, they are. And I can show you in history where the early church were keeping these feasts until the anti-Semitic Pope of Rome, Gregory, began to forbid that these feasts be kept because they were too Jewish in his eyes, and they wanted to move away from all things Jewish with their anti-Semitic demonic influence. But in these last days, there is a restoration of not only the Sabbath day to God's true church, but also the Feast of Israel. And we have one that is coming up next week that I want to invite you to. It's called the Feast of Atonement. We just finished celebrating the Feast of Trumpets, and oh my, what a wonderful event we had. The power of God was so heavy upon the people of God that literally people could not move from the divine weight of the kabod glory of the Almighty Yahweh. We saw many wonderful visitations of the Spirit that night. There seems to just be an open heaven when we obey and come into the heavenly dance, the rhythm of the heavens, and when we keep these feast days. Now the next feast that's coming up, very little is known about this feast. I'm surprised at how few theologians, pastors, ministers, laity, that know about this amazing, wow, wonderful feast. The message behind this next feast is one that would set your mind at ease. It would end all worry of tomorrow. The world would be at peace instantly if they understood the message in the next Feast of Israel. It comes to us on the 11th of October 2016. We'll be gathering at 106 Turner Street in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. All of the faithful saints will be there. You're invited to join us. We're going to have a wonderful time. I'll be preaching that night on a tale of two goats. You don't want to miss it. Our friends from Hammond, Louisiana have told us they'll be with us. Brother Sharon Landrews, their congregation will be with us. Our congregation will be there. You're invited to obey the word and keep this feast with us forever. God bless you. I hope you have an awesome day.